Hello and welcome back to another speed draw. These are just on the 4 so that I've drawn for Kafune, which was released quite recently. So that is Hitoshi Shinso, Shoto Todoroki, Katsuki Bakugo, and Eijiro Kirishima. However, I'd like to just say that I actually came across this question from Stitched Heart, which this whole video is going to encompass that one question. So every other question is going to be released in another future speed draw, but for now, I would like to answer these ones, partly because, answer this one, sorry. Partly because I know a lot of people have asked for it. So here we go. Enjoy the explanations. First off, I would like to say, Stitched Heart, thank you so much for the compliments. It really, really helps, especially now that I'm in an art rut. So hopefully I will get to continue to create as much as I can. But the question for this entire video that everyone, I hope, will indulge in is there a list of what every traveler's quirk is? I am super new to getting involved with the lore. So, I'm gonna go through as many quirks as I can that has been present on this channel, and hopefully we can hopefully we can get through a lot of the explanation, but also get through a lot of some of the history as well. So, here we go. Katsuki Bakugo's Traveler's Quirk. Now, a lot of people have attributed them as a living human balloon, which is true. Their quirk is float. So, canonically, that does exist. Nana Shimura, who was the predecessor of All Might, her original quirk was float. So, this Traveler's quirk being float for Bakugo Katsuki Bakugo, sorry. But, you know, I just found it hilarious to think that he would have to, like, be mindful and look out for someone with that kind of quirk. And, I don't know, it just kind of fell into place for me. The problem with their quirk, of course, is that, unfortunately, they cannot turn it off. Once they've actually discovered it, they just consistently float. So the teachings and the training that they had to go through was basically how to control it to keep themselves grounded, and only use it when necessary. So that's why in most of them you've heard that they have weighted anklets and bracelets. So that's something to help them keep them on the ground and to control where they actually can float. Izuku Midoriya's Traveler's Quirk is basically precise aim. I guess that's the name I've given it. It would probably be called Sniper, I guess, in a way. And it's similar to what Snipe is in the canon. But the difference is that it's their eyes. Their eyes actually act like a sniper scope. They can magnify to great lengths, and they can see everything in clarity. Now, the only reason I gave this kind of quirk to Midoriya's Traveler is partly because I wanted something that, it's not an all-powerful quirk, so it's kind of a quirk that you wouldn't imagine a hero having in Hero Society. So I guess in a way, it's kind of almost like feeling like you're quirkless even though you have a quirk. So this Traveler is actually working so hard to be a part of Hero Society. And kind of like Sniper, always has to rely on equipment in order to actually be efficient on the field. So that's why they carry around a sniper rifle and 2 magnum guns, because then they can actually be efficient. But other than that, I just feel like it's something that Midoriya could attribute to, or Midoriya could empathize with, even though they had a quirk. So it's just the whole stigma of trying to be a part of Hero Society when your quirk isn't, I guess, good enough for it. And that's where this Traveler came from. Shoto Todoroki's traveler's quirk, everyone, or at least most people are aware, is very similar to how the Avatar waterbenders work. They just water manipulate. So they can manipulate all sorts of water from everything, and that's all they do. So they're not like waterbenders where they can freeze everything, or they can, create snow and icicles and stuff, because that's, well, we know this is what Todoroki does. But it was highly inspired by a fanfiction I read when I first opened this channel, and I just fell in love with the quirk, and it's just been a part of the lore ever since. Links down in the description below for that video, by the way, so if you'd like to have a listen to it. But yeah, their traveler is basically a sidekick to Todoroki, so I wanted to explore not from a pro-hero sense, but from a sidekick sense. So the traveler has had history with Todoroki, like through school and all that, but they decided to, I guess, not, be greater than Todoroki, I guess, or not be on par, but to support him. So that's what I wanted to explore in that kind of relationship. Let's see, Hunter Zero. Let's jump onto Hunter Zero really quickly, because a lot of people got really excited about his traveler and what their traveler's quirk was. So the traveler's quirk is basically inspired by Foxfire. If you read that up, it's kind of a thing with Kitsune, so that's the whole fox thing trope coming through. But basically, Foxfire is light manipulation and traveling through light to get from point A to point B. So if you've read up on, if you listen to any of the Hunter Zero timelines, you notice that either the traveler travels through light in a ball of light, or they can travel objects from a ball of light from point A to point B. So basically that's what they do, but it's the quickest way of getting in and out of places without having to trip anything. So if they travel through light, they make for a great thief. Eijiro Kirishima's traveler's quirk is basically sonic booms and shockwaves. So imagine having a jet just rush past you, right next to you, and you hear that boom. That's basically what Eijiro Kirishima's traveler does. They swing their limbs and they can projectile like these sonic shockwaves. The downfall to this for them, of course, is that it's a huge pain on their limbs and their muscles that they cannot move once they actually, project large amounts of like waves, I guess, towards people. And I only thought of this with Kirishima partly because canonically he can withstand and resist shockwaves better than most people because of his quirk. So it's just kind of pairing the two together. The only thing I really like to explore about their relationship, or like, their friendship, however, their connections with each other, is personality wise. And it's, I don't know, I just have this headcanon that it's just really cute that this traveler who came from Fourth Kind's agency, whom of course Kirishima had experience with internships, have learned stories about him, and then they just end up being together because of that. So I don't know, it's a slight headcanon of mine, but I really find it cute, I guess. Denki Kaminari's traveler is, of course, everyone's guessed it, a siren. So basically they take control of someone through their voice and their song. They take control similar to Shinzo, but they sing. There's a lullaby involved. And every time this person hears a lullaby, their quirk amplifies like extremely powerful, kind of like how La Brava works in the series. The only downfall I notice that I've painted for this is that they can only control one person at a time, and that person can be controlled for like a good month under their control. So they can never like have a whole group of people do the same thing. And with Kaminari's Traveler, it's just basically I really enjoyed wanting to give Kaminari a spotlight that's outside of Pro Hero Society, that they're like, you know, it explores a different part of Pro Hero Society. So he's similar to Hawks in this regard, in a way that in this generation he is kind of like the Hawks, that he works for the Commission, but he does work on a pro hero basis. He's not a spy or anything, so he's just that in that capacity. Hitoshi Shinso, now that we're getting out to him, of course, their Traveler's quirk is mind reading, and they can probe people's minds. They can tell who's lying, who's not, which is probably why they have grown to become the interrogator that works for both the police and the Commission. But I also wanted to explore like Shinso being with someone who I guess is similar to him, but also understands him, that can understand him in that way. And it's a really nice, I guess, dynamic that you have someone who can read minds, who would be able, I guess, to read his mind and go from there. Other, I guess, heroes that I haven't yet fleshed out is, for example, Tenya Iida's Traveler's quirk is basically they're quirkless. They're just a mechanic that works at their agency. Tokoyami's Traveler's quirk is, it's called Valkyrie. They come from Norway, so that's something that I would like to explore. And they're very based in Norse mythology, so I think it's just quite interesting to have that. Hawks' Traveler's quirk is, I guess I would attribute to it as probability. Like, they can scan an area, or they can scan like a scenario situation, depending on what elements they have, and give the best probability of success or failure depending on what the situation holds. And if you've watched The Queen's Gambit, that's how they picture everything. They kind of view things like a chessboard. So that's how they see the scenarios work out in that way. I do want to incorporate more chess, I guess, with Hawks. I don't know why. I think that's just a headcanon of mine with this Traveler. Villain Travelers, we have to really get quickly through. Darby's, actually, here's the thing. I might have to go through the villains another day. The villains Travelers are quite, I guess, complex in how their quirks work. So I guess that's another video for another week. But according to all the heroes so far, that's what everyone's is. I do want to explore Aizawa, Present Mic, and Monoma, because I originally did have people for those quirks, but they do need more fleshing out, just so then I can, I guess, explain myself better about them. It's just a matter of, what I really like to do with quirks is that I really like to not only find what their primary, I guess, their primary function, but also what their flaws are, what do the characters do to compensate for that, considering that the world is full of quirks. But I guess that's all the time I have for today. Thank you so much for just joining in, even though I've just rambled about what these Traveler's quirks do. If you do have any further questions for a future video, please just comment down below. Your questions will be featured at some point in the future, and I hope to get through as many questions as possible. But otherwise, I hope you enjoy, and I hope to see you next time. Keep asking. See you soon.